So I have an audience here of folk meeting in Hobart, but representatives from across the country discussing issues around studio teaching as a pedagogy in the creative arts. Although I think it's fair to say our interest base is primarily here art, architecture and design, although there are some performing arts people included as well. And we have teachers from the high school system all the way through to universities. So that's us. And thank you very much for making yourself available to meet with us. Eric, I thought if it's okay, we'd start with just a general introduction to why you're here in Australia and how you've found the visit thus far.
Absolutely. And first, just to let you know, our Skype is coming across a little interrupted. So let me know if happy as yours speaking to me was. Is it okay so far?
I think it's fair to say it's a two-way exchange.
Are you having a surreal experience?
Yes, I'm afraid so. But let's push on and hope that it works well enough.
Okay. Well, let me take your first question, which is about what the heck this New Yorker is doing in Australia. Here as a guest of QUT and having the opportunity to visit in 4 cities around the country in a variety of conversations with arts institutions, arts fund, just a variety of opportunities to kind of dig into the way the arts are working, the way artists are trained, the way interface with community, and the different ways our experience in the U.S. might be either a contributor of ideas or more likely provide examples of what not to do in terms of expanding, changing, developing practices.
Thank you, Eric. With that in mind, where do you see the momentum and energy then in contemporary culture?
Well, first of all, let me just say how much I envy your having this conference. I don't envy people having to sit there and look at a choppy version of me trying to share some useful ideas, but I do envy everything else about your gathering because for us in the US, the focus on studio pedagogy, it never happens. And it's just a hugely significant part of the arts development in the country, and it's the one part that is absolutely trailing and really preventing a lot of growth in our conservatories and artist training programs. So the fact, number one, that you get together for time and exploration, and number two, that you get to do it in Tasmania makes me just hideously envy to begin with. The big story from the US is that we have had, wait, I'm just getting a note that we might try calling you right back to see if we could get a better connection. If it's annoying on your end, and I'm noticing, Noel, you have a kind of forced smile that makes you think it might be pretty difficult to hear.
Well,
that you're all working really hard to try to make sense out of this.
I'm concentrating.
Do you want to try a callback?
And sadly, that was the most lucid thing for that. So, now I've blushed as well as grinning, so thank you very much. I'm not sure, Scott, do you think it's worth... I think it's okay, Eric, from our end. Yeah. Keep going, push on.
I'm told it's pretty easy to do in the hopes of getting a better connection. Okay, we'll push on then. A couple of kind of big overview statements about from the US that may be useful for the focus of your conference. First of all, what is happening in terms of artist training is, thanks to a lot of different causes, a completely stuck status quo world is starting to move and change. I believe it is being driven by market demand, both the students coming in demanding a different kind of school experience, and the arts world saying, we want some different things out of the artists that are coming out of your programs. The conservatories and training programs have been pretty resistant over time, and I get to say this about the US knowing it wouldn't be true in Australia, but we usually say that the biggest impediment of artist training is entrenched faculty, that is where the hesitancy, the kind of dogged clinging to past practices is the hardest to move. And it's finally beginning to move. We've had some, if I were going to conceptualize the trend, is that we're beginning to embrace the concept of a 21st century kit bag of skills that is essential for the new artist. And certainly that includes capacity to be effective in the artistic discipline, technique being important, of course, essential, and a kind of appropriate set of expectations for what lies ahead. But we're really coming to say that there are now an additional set of skills that are essential to live a full and rewarding life in the arts. In our field, there isn't yet, I would say, conclusive agreement around what these additional skill areas actually are, but they tend to be sort of lumped into buckets. Wow, there's a bad metaphor, but they're sort of grouped, and there's educational skills, where it's now thought it's not just significant enough to be able to do your art form, but you need to be effective at bringing people into experiences of your art form. There's the entrepreneurial side, which is to be able to make things happen in your art form and not just be hopeful that someone will give you jobs and let you do the thing you like to do. There's advocacy skills, where it is believed incumbent on the 21st century artist to actually be able to be effective at opening up people's understanding of the relevance of this art form. And there's other skills, communication skills, that get involved. And so we're looking at how do you change a very traditional artist training model to embody this larger set of aspirations.